Mosh Pit Podcast is presented by Rebel 13 Magazine. And I know this guy for a long time. I trust him very well, and his work is unbelievable. And if you want to get yourself a magazine, all the stuff will be down in the link below. And if you like doing modeling or whatever, like pinups and stuff like that around cars and all that fun stuff, go right down in the link below, hit him up, and magazines come out monthly. So go buy yours now, get a subscription, or go hit him up if you want to do some photography and set something up. Let's get back. Later. Welcome back, Mosh Pit Podcast. We're here with Myki on Middays from 98 Rock, and it's your 1 year anniversary. How you feeling?
I still can't believe I've been on the air for Middays for a whole year.
A whole year? Yeah, because it's like, I feel like in the podcasting game, a lot goes by quick. Because, yeah, bands have like their one-time tour over a year and stuff like that. But podcasting is all, radio, podcast, all this stuff is 24/7.
Completely. And plus, too, with everything that's been happening since COVID, with, a lot of mass layoffs that will happen with companies. I mean, I believe iHeart's going through that right now. So you just never know. There's never a guarantee.
Yeah.
And I just feel so fortunate that not only am I doing well, but my show is doing well. And obviously because I have an anniversary party.
Yeah.
And I'm honored to be here. Thank you for asking for this interview.
No problem. And I want to say it's an honor because growing up on 98 Rock, being on all the time, and then also like being in the situation that I am and growing from where I have been, because I've been doing this for like a year and a half, and
congratulations.
It's a hustle, and that's why I really honor you and I commend you.
Well, thank you.
For doing what you do.
Yeah, I love that you do this. I think especially in music genres and in the rock genre, any sort of media that can be out there to amplify and promote bands and artists is important, because this genre gets overlooked all the time.
Yes. When
it comes to award ceremonies, when it comes to endorsements for commercials, like anything out there, this genre just gets overlooked a lot.
Oh yeah, that's why when I was like, when it was like the Super Bowl, I was so excited when I saw that they put Creed in the ads that they had. Like,
yeah,
that was like, I was like, yes, like
it matters. It matters, yeah,
because it's just like all like people doing the halftime shows are a lot more newer than the old school bands it'd be definitely a different vibe, but it gives that energy that you want at a Super Bowl.
It does, because wasn't there, correct me if I don't even remember the year, maybe it wasn't a Super Bowl, but I thought there was a performance where AC/DC came out and performed like with Foo Fighters. Was it like an award show, or?
I think it was it Foo Fighters?
I want to say with old school, with AC/DC, and it was the craziest. People love that, like Aftershock.
Yeah.
All of the old school bands don't like sleep on these bands. I mean, you never know when you're going to see them again.
Exactly.
So having an opportunity to see them, but having them on a big stage, I think is important.
Yes, because like, I mean, that's why I was like, they're not like crazy old, but like last year when it was like, I think it was Sunday night was when Guns N' Roses played.
Yes, last year it was Sunday night, 3-hour set.
3-hour set. But what sucked was like I had to choose between Guns N' Roses and Suicide Silence.
Oh no.
And I ended up, luckily I went and did the whole Suicide Silence set, left, and still got to see pretty much like half the set of
There
Guns
you go.
N' Roses.
That was brilliant on Guns N' Roses part 2, because that can happen.
Yeah.
You can leave and come back. You might not miss the whole 3 hours, but you'll get a good chunk of Guns N' Roses. So.
That's why this year's going to be different, because you know how they usually do it. It's like a band on the main stage and one of the little stages are playing at the same time. Then it alternates, and then, but now they have the 5 stages. So it's like, how are we going to alternate?
That and what is the 5th stage going to embody? Like, are they going to bring back having local bands? I wasn't even kidding. I was half kidding when I said, what if the 5th stage is in the VIP area?
Yeah.
Like, you pay that extra to see something different or special or intimate.
Yes.
Right?
And
so
if you never know what's going to be at the 5th stage, you never know who, especially at Aftershock, you never know who's going to pop in.
Correct.
You're like last year when I ran into John Dollyman from System of a Down, he was just walking around.
See, right there. You know what I'm hoping is, because Disturbed is going to be there, Heart is performing in October in Sacramento.
What?
I just saw it posted. Oh. So, and Wilson, please, like, please, right? Like, I'm just like, please. That would be so dope.
That's why, like, last year I was one thing that sucked that I really hoped for was since Limp Bizkit and Korn were playing, part of me was praying that maybe they're cool with each other and they'll do All in the Family. Just for
crossing fingers
one last time. And that's what I love, but I do want to get to these questions.
Okay,
quick.
go for it. Sorry.
I want to ask, who was the first band you ever interviewed or like did a radio with or whatever?
Band or artist, does it matter?
It doesn't matter, either one.
So, oh my gosh. How far back are we going to go? And you're talking mainstream though, right? Or do you mean at all?
At all.
So the first time I did interviews was when I worked for an internet radio station right here in Sacramento called V103 Rock. Ooh. And it started, I think, in 2010 or 11. And I jumped on with a show called Afternoon Indie in 2012. And it was my friends, Rendezvous with Cool Beans, came on to be my very first guest. My first episode happened to be on Valentine's Day, 2012. And they were the first ones to come in for me to interview. And it just was fun because they were my friends. Yeah. And I did a lot of focus on local bands. And I would go out I would probably go to 10 or 12 local shows a month. I would buy their music so I could upload it for my show. And then I would book them for an interview. So I would interview like 8 to 10 artists a month.
What?
Mm-hmm. You talk about the hustle, right?
That's hustle.
When you want it, and this was 2012, and this is way before the pandemic, so there were a lot of live shows here in Sacramento. Yeah. We had so many venues. There were live shows every week. There were so many, sometimes you would have to hop to 2 or 3 in the same night at different venues. It would be like that. You know what I mean? Because there were just that many.
That sounds fun, though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so it was just, I would look it up online, or I would, people had flyers, I would grab them and I would go, and if I would see them, meet them, tell them I was with V103 Rock, I would love to buy your music and have you on the show, and done. Yeah. 8 times out of 10 I would get the interview. But I always got the music.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like the big thing with doing this kind of work is I can't believe you got like 8 interviews.
Because my show was twice a week. Yeah. I wasn't Monday through Friday. My show was twice a week. Mm-hmm. So I'd have an interview, sometimes 2, every time I was on the air.
Oh, that's just because from where I do and doing 1 a week, that's even hard. So
it is hard.
Getting two bands to be like, we're gonna get you here, so that way we can sit down and talk with you. They're just okay, we can make it. And then also you have that also feeling sometimes of what if something happens, they have to reschedule or something.
That too. That happens.
And it's just okay.
And sometimes I would get the bands that people were shocked with. They never do them, or they always cancel. How did you get them? I'm like, I don't know. I just did.
Yeah.
I lucked out, I guess.
I say the same thing too, because people say, how do you do this? I go, it's all luck.
It is.
It is pure luck, because you're introducing yourself to a band, and you're also trying to convince them to not convince them, but have them relate to you in certain ways. Right. And then also be like, okay, I like this person. They want me to go on a radio show or a podcast and just talk to them. Since I can talk to them comfortably right now, I feel like I can come on and be comfortable with them and not just sit there being like...
Well, and also, too, remember, these were the local unsigned bands, so they're eager to get their name out there and their music. Whereas if you're interviewing those that are mainstream or better known, that's when it gets a little bit more of a struggle, especially if you don't have a backing. Having 98 Rock makes it a lot easier to book the interviews at Aftershock Festival. Yeah. But me by myself, maybe not so much. The bigger names, right? Yeah. So that's also something to take in consideration, why I was able to get so many.
Yeah, that's why, because that's why last year at Aftershock, I always do my own things, but I was going everywhere, talking to as many people as possible, and that's when I met Danny Hayes, and that's what I told him. I was like, I know I'm not crazy big, but next year I would love to. And I gave him a podcast shirt. I was like, here's this.
See, there you go. That's how you do it.
He was like, oh, you're super cool. I like it. Let's talk and stuff like that. I was talking to everybody at DW Presents. I was just like, hey, this is me.
But see, that's the hustle right there. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You just take the chance.
Exactly.
And the fact that you had the merch and gave it, that was a good touch.
Yes, that's what I was...
Because that's better than a business card.
Oh, yeah, because that's what I was doing all weekend to, bands and everybody. I was just, because I had a lot of shirts, and they're like, aren't you going to lose money? I was like, I don't care. People are going to be like, I got
You're the walking billboard.
Exactly.
That's what you're paying for.
Exactly. And, also giving people there that I just... Sometimes random people or people I know, just giving them shirts, be like, wear this tomorrow at Aftershock, wear this tomorrow, and you just walk around and be like, I've been seeing that around.
Exactly.
I've been seeing that around. why is everybody? A lot of people have these shirts on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. You figured it out.
But I do want to ask you as well, if you can go back in the day when you like started and give yourself advice, what would you say?
Oh my gosh. Don't take it so seriously and don't be so hard on yourself. You know, you want to nail the interview and say all the right words and not offend. And did I get the content right? And all that stuff. In the end, what's the word I'm looking for? Being original, being organic will always trump like overproduction or, you know, because I always stressed over so much the littlest things because I wanted to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
The whole imposter syndrome thing is a real thing. And I would go back and just say, you're gonna nail it. You're good at this. You've got a gift. You'll hone it over time. It can only take time. Exactly. Experience and wisdom can only come with time. That's what I would tell myself.
That's one thing I do every time before I go do an interview all the time is I tell myself, here you are again, Chris. You're about to go in. You're about to go in front of the camera, show them what you do, and do it right.
Yep.
That's always what I do because it's just because I get in my head too all the time when I go to shows. Sometimes not a crazy amount since I've been doing it a lot more, but sometimes I'll go to shows and I just get this full nervous thing of just like, especially when it's like a band I've never met. We're just talking to each other over social or email. We're just like setting up stuff so you've never met them. You don't know how they're gonna be, and then you're just like, okay, how's this gonna be? How's this going to be? Is it going to be good? It's going to be good. I hope it's good.
Psyching yourself up in the mirror going, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to.
But I love being nervous too and then having it be successful. And then you're just like,
I nailed it. Absolutely.
And that's like another thing is like, that's why I like my favorite band I ever interviewed. Not favorite band, but like pre-show. Interview was Head PE because it was my starting, and that's what gave me.
And that's a big name too, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, like having that because I wasn't even gonna do it. It was just talking to Trauma, and he was like, we never come through. Let's do it now. And I was like, okay, I got you. I legit set up a tripod on the hood of a truck, and then just started talking to him. I legit went into the green room for like 30 minutes, just writing questions down. I was just like, okay, what can I talk about? How can I mesh this in with this? And then went out, did it, posted it, and then got like 600 views in 2 hours.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, oh, that's like works.
Yeah.
And
Good for you.
And then that's why I want to ask you, what is your most memorable band or artist that you've ever had the privilege of being or talking
Easy.
to?
I bring this up every time because what I'm about to share with you was actually published in a workbook for San Francisco State University for journalism. You ready for this? So rock isn't the only genre I work in, right? Right now I am in 98 Rock, but I've only been with Odyssey for 3 years, but I've been at this game since 2007. So I also work with the Women's International Music Network. We host the She Rocks Awards at the NAMM convention every year. And the one that made me the most nervous, Chaka Khan. Okay, good. You know who she is. Yes. There's a younger whole generation that'll be like, who? Chaka Khan. And here's how it went. Because we were honoring her at the She Rocks. I was the only one she was going to talk to. And this was 2016. Now remember, artists will pick and choose because media likes to skew things for ratings, for bite. And you have to respect that game. And if she decided last minute she wasn't going to do it, you have to take that too. But no, she came in, and so you study, right? You study what you're going to ask. I've got 2 minutes or less with her. So how can I make this impactful? And I did it. And the one thing that I reached in, because this is the other thing that I do, is I research the last 3 or 4 interviews by that artist, and I want to make sure I'm not repeating stuff. And you look up if there's something new or if there's something legendary. And so a lot of people may or may not know that she has a Chaka Khan Foundation. That helps, that helps out at-risk women and children. So that was one of the questions. And you make it that you care, that you want, that this platform is to emulate and promote you and not make you look bad, right? Yeah. I have so much respect for this woman. And so once it was done, I mean, like, she hugged me and posed with a photo. And even her agent came back and said, so that was well, right? I'm like, you're asking me if that went well? I'm like, that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I will forever remember that interview.
That's just like an idle thing that you can have.
Yeah.
And just be like having like that's another thing I always say is like having a big well-known name and you meet them or you're doing an interview with them and they give you what you want. They give you what you expect out of them.
Yes.
That's the best thing. They don't just be like, I'm here. I know I'm perfect. But they have people that like just like, I know what you know me for, so I'm gonna give you what you know me for.
Right.
And that's what I love. And that's awesome that you got to do Shaka Khan.
Thank you.
Oh.
Like I said, I was the only one she would talk to. Everyone else could take photos of her. No one else on that whole line of the red carpet. And there were about 20 behind me. All they got to do was take her photo. That was it. She only talked to me, and why? Because I was with the Women's International Music Network and we were honoring her. See what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's whoever's backing you. Yeah. Had I not worked for that company, I'd just be taking photos myself.
I remember one time I got backed by a person that I met that day. And it was, I went to my first rap show and I was backstage at Ice Cube show out in Santa Maria.
Okay.
And openings were Digital Underground, Bone Thugs and Harmony, JJ Fad.
Damn. All the good ones. All the greats.
And Exhibit.
And Exhibit.
Exhibit. And first group I met was Digital Underground. They're from the Bay.
How was that? How were they?
They are the nicest people
ever. They
ever.
seem so cool.
They're so nice. And they also, because I was wearing my Niners hat that day.
Okay.
And they were like, oh, you're a Niner? We're already buddies. And
that's so cool.
And we ended up chit-chatting for hours. Not like, it was still like me starting the pod. I had like maybe 2 out. And it was just like me starting and just being like, I maybe want to get into the rap area as well.
Yeah.
Let me talk to these guys. And they were just like, it was crazy because JJ Fad rolls up and then they take pictures and like, Chris, go get a picture with JJ Fad. And I was like, awesome. I got to hang out with JJ Fad, all of them. And then Exhibit rolls up. I say what's up to him. He's a super cool guy. He is very scary though when you talk to them. He's nice, but you're just like intimidated. You're just like, I feel like I did something wrong, but I didn't do anything wrong.
But you got the interview though.
Oh.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It was just like meeting them in digital, like Money B, shout out Money B. He was, I can hit him up whenever I want now and just be like, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And he's doing great. And like legit, it was crazy too, I'm not going to say it's because of me, but legit a month after I talked to him about doing podcasting interviews and stuff and like streaming and doing all that, he was just like, he decided to start doing a gaming, like streaming gaming.
Oh.
A month after that, and he was like, I want to talk about OG games, like arcade games. And
look at that.
I was like, that's awesome. Because that's what I want some artists to do. I always tell some artists that are really good at talking and conversation, I'm like,
why aren't you?
Do podcasting as well. That helps promote your own band as well when you do that.
Yeah.
Is you just
people love to listen to them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They just be like either driving to work or at work or just on break, and they like just be like, I listened to this band and they have this podcast, but let's hear what happened to them this week. And they have funny stories. They have.
Oh yeah. That's that human side of them.
Oh yeah. That's what I love about this is that's why I like have bands and have people come on and it's like, it's showing people that bands have their human side. And that's why sometimes when I talk to bands now is I ask, what are your hobbies other than music?
Right.
Because, and then that sometimes it'll take a member and be like, whoa, what is my hobbies other than music? And it's just like, some people are like, oh, it'll like shock me. Like you'll say something like, I like the biggest, angriest looking guy. And he's like, I like to bake bread.
It calms me.
It calms me. And that's what I love about it.
That's so cool.
Like, how about you? What are your hobbies like other than doing radio or talking to bands?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question because I feel like I'm married to my work. I love having plants and caring for them. I actually have a green thumb. So I get a thrill with nurturing them, making sure they're doing good, watching their progress. I talk to my plants. I touch my plants. I mist my plants. That's something I do to ground myself for sure. I'd like to get back to reading, like books. I have all these books. It's the time that I don't give myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm always working. Like I can, like right now I'm thinking how to turn bits of this into content that can play later.
Yes.
The brain doesn't stop. And so I have to remind myself I'm human. There's other things about me that I could do to make sure I have that balance in life. So I would definitely plants. Baking, I used to love baking, but that takes time.
Mosh Pit Podcast is presented to you by Porterhouse Painting. Okay, you know my last name's Porter. This guy is family. And if you are in the Bay Area or somewhere around the Bay Area in NorCal, and say you have a new home or you're renting, or say you have a home and you're trying to get some painting done inside or out, or maybe some new drywall put in or some insulation, stuff like that, and you can't find somebody that you can trust. Porterhouse Painting, I can guarantee you that you can hit him up and trust him, and he will get the job done, and it will look immaculate. It'll look just like what you want. And all of his stuff, his email's down the link below to contact him on that. And let's get back into the pod later. Yeah, last week I talked to band Red Star, and me and the drummer from Red Star had a big thing in common, which was we used to play ice hockey.
Oh, okay.
He still plays ice hockey, and talking to him about it on the interview, he loves it. And afterwards, he was showing me a hockey stick, a band sign and stuff. And
that's so cool.
And then I ended up
an autographed hockey stick? That's badass.
I ended up getting it.
Oh, yep. Is it like hanging up on your wall at home? Yep. All roped up. You got to pay to see it.
Exactly. But I love hearing bands' backstories of like what they do when they're not on tour.
Yeah.
I mean, because not all band members have a family where they just, I go home and hang out.
That's true.
Hang out with my kids or hang out with my wife. Some of them are single and they just go home and they go home. And some people that just want, and you also meet people that are very, because like you'll have a big band and then they're like, I'm actually more of an introvert, and then they're like really?
Yeah, a lot of them are, and being a performer is the way that they express themselves.
Yeah.
Another thing that I should forget, I love to be outdoors. Something about being outside, hugging trees, walking in parks, going on hikes, getting in touch with nature again, and remembering just how small I am to this really big universe. Okay. That keeps me in check.
Yeah, that's like, because I interviewed a band a couple weeks ago, I Set to Kill.
Okay.
And they live in Arizona.
Okay.
They go hiking all the time. They love going out in nature and stuff like that. And that's why I love bands that are like bigger, and they also don't live in California where it's very congested sometimes, and they can go out and they can just be like, I can breathe.
That's awesome.
But I want to ask you this question before the end of this.
Okay.
I always ask this: what's your craziest mosh pit you've seen or been in?
I will never be in a mosh pit. Partly because I am a former martial artist, and partly because I don't do well. Like, I will take you out. That being said, the first time I ever saw a wall of death, that's what it's called, right?
Yep.
So I'm at, what was it called? This was 2010? Oh, what was it called? It was up in Wheatland. It was a metal like festival, but for one day. I can't remember what it was called, but I was there, and Bullet for My Valentine.
Ooh.
So I'm sitting safely just on the outside of where GA is, and then I hear him say, "Alrighty, everybody get ready." I'm all, get ready for what? And then it's, he's telling and I see them part like the Red Sea. I'm like, what the is about to happen? And then he gives the call, and just this swirl of like hundreds and hundreds of bodies just boom in this vortex of smoke and people and screaming. And I thought, wow, and they paid to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the first time I saw that. And I've since learned what those are for. And I have the Uproar. No. Am I saying that right? Maybe not.
The
Uproar. No, Uproar Festival. Roar. Anyways. So I'm trying to remember the name of it. But now that I know why people mosh and stuff, I understand it. I get it. But I didn't know then. I had to learn. I had to ask people. I'm like, why are people paying to beat each other up right now?
Yeah.
And there's no trophy. There's no money. Like, what are we doing?
Because that's why why I named it Mosh Pit is because I always tell people there's a crowd and there's stages of a crowd. You have the people that like to just chill and watch the show. Mm-hmm. You have the people that want to be up front, but they just want to mind their own business. And,
right.
then you have the Mosh Pit. Those are what I call the most diehard music fans. Those are the guys that just go there, but they don't not only want to see the music, they don't only want to feel the music, they want to
be a part of it.
They want to express the music. They want to hop in, have fun, and just do the thing. And that's why a lot of people sometimes don't understand. It's like a mosh pit can be...
Well, it's a community too, and they'll help each other up. I mean, this isn't trying to tear each other apart.
Yeah.
This is experiencing music in the same manner.
Yeah.
And that's the respect that I've learned about that. And because I have friends that will do it, I'm like, kudos to you. I could never. You're brave.
Yeah, because that's one thing that's hard for me now is like doing interviews a lot. And it's like I don't go to a lot of shows where I'm just like at a show.
Yeah.
It's
You're
like,
working all the time.
Yeah.
You're going to learn that at Aftershock Festival.
Yeah.
This is facts because the media area is so cush. I'll be honest. I really never leave it. Like, I think the only time I left it last year was because we were doing upgrades for 98 Rock, right?
Yeah.
You see Nikki D or I out there,
Yeah.
and we had the upgrades for VIP. So that's when we would go out into GA. And then I'm like, okay, we're back to Media Tent. Like,
Yeah.
it's so posh. You're going to love it. I can't wait for you to experience it.
And I wanted to ask you one final question.
Okay.
I'm blanking on it right now. I'm having a brain fart. But it was an honor to come here and do this.
Oh, no, the honor's all mine.
But my last question.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You told me you were once in a band.
Oh. Okay, so I've been in 3 bands.
3 bands?
Okay, but not that big a deal though. When I say it and it sounds great. So the first band I was in was a cover band called Repeat Offender, and I was a singer.
Yeah.
For a cover band, and this was in when did I do this? 2006, I think 2007. And there was a male and female, and I was the female singer to do like 90s and 2000 hits, right?
Yeah.
I did a lot of Gwen Stefani and the Bangles, and because a lot of these cover bands or these shows, they like songs they can dance to. Mm-hmm. That was my first one. And then through Girls Rock Sacramento, which is the music camp that I'm on the board, we have an adult version called Liberation Camp. And so you need no experience, but instead of creating original music like the teens and the kids do, we learn to cover our favorite songs, and then we get to perform them at a venue.
Ooh.
I know. We have a coach for our instrument and then a coach for our band, and then we get to go to a venue. So my first band was Bitchcraft,
Ooh.
and I was the drummer.
Oh.
And what was badass about this was, can we talk about the hustle real quick? So it's 2017. I'm working with the Women's International Music Network covering the female-fronted bands at Aftershock. Plus, I was volunteering to sling beer to raise money for the Gender Health Center. And the Saturday night, I had my gig.
Ooh.
So I had to rush from Aftershock after interviewing a band. Mm-hmm. And then my drum coach had to sound check for me. I'm getting blown up with text like, are you here? Are you here? Like a diva. I roll wide on up. I walk into the Blue Lamp before it closed down. Iconic small venue here in Sacramento. Walk right on stage and we start to play.
With no sound check.
Well, not on me, right? So it's like we're just gonna do it. And we did 3 songs. And then the second time was during the pandemic. So this was all online, and we ended up having to like stream a video. And it's called The White Suits, and I learned how to play guitar.
Ooh.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was in a cover band for not long. Where because I played drums, and we did...
I love it.
We did a lot of Slipknot covers.
There you go.
But that was so hard on my legs.
I bet.
Because
what a workout.
Oh, double pedals.
Oh, the whole...
doing the heel toe 24/7. Because that's a lot of Slipknot. You're just doing heel toes the whole time. You're just
my gosh.
And I know my calves were just ripped. You're just like, ha.
Like a Popeye on his calves.
Yeah. But thank you again. And
yeah, thank you for having me.
And I'm excited to hang out with you tonight. And I'll catch you next time, Mosh Pit Podcast. Later.